What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. I hope everybody's having a great day. Alright guys, I got a couple things to cover today. No doubt you guys probably heard about Ultima Thule, which is basically a space rock, and let's get into that now. Right here you got, it's located in the Kuiper Belt, and I'll read this real quick. January 1st, 2019, NASA's New Horizons spacecraft flew past Ultima Thule in the early hours of New Year's Day, ushering in the era of the exploration from the enigmatic Kuiper Belt, a region of primordial objects that holds keys to understanding the origins of the solar system. Okay, congratulations to NASA's New Horizons team, Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory, and the Southwest Research Institute for making history yet again. In addition to being the first to explore Pluto, today, New Horizons flew by the most distant object ever visited by the spacecraft and became the first to directly explore an object that holds remnants from the birth of our solar system, said NASA Administration Jim Bridenstine. This is what leadership in space exploration is all about. Signals confirming the spacecraft is healthy and had filled its digital recorders with science data on Ultima Thule reached the mission's operations center at Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory, or the APL, today at 12:29 a.m. Eastern Time, almost exactly 10 hours after New Horizons' closest approach to the object. Okay, where's the information at? You know, I'm sure they had, obviously, these instruments on board are there to detect certain things. Now, this is my question, and it's not always a bad thing to question, right? My question is, out of all of these bodies in this Kuiper Belt, and I believe Pluto is included in that, it's between, I think, Neptune and Pluto. What I find interesting is, out of all of these bodies in this Kuiper Belt, why this one? I think they even said that this one here, you can see it right here, the composite of two images reveal the best indication of Ultima Thule's size and shape so far, which they said was like a bowling pin, right? What I find interesting, though, is this thing's flying at like 27 to 32,000 miles, basically through space, and they said it's like a propeller. It's kind of just flipping on its ends, right? So they're not ruling out that it could be two separate objects, could be just the one. Again, why that particular body? What is so interesting about this one particular, or two, maybe two, right? About these two bodies, one body. Is it giving off some kind of signal, which may be too far-fetched? Is it a precious metal? Is it displaying, some kind of qualities that just stand out from the rest of these bodies? I don't know. Kind of interesting. But we'll see in the near future if they tell us what they find, right? Because a lot of times they'll say, well, they're looking for this, that, and the other, and then you never hear a thing about it. At least a lot of the public doesn't. But we'll see in the near future. All right, guys, we're going to jump into China's Chang'e 4. And you can see right here at the top of the page is the daily newsletter, New Scientist. All right. China's Chang'e 4 makes historic first landing on the moon's far side. For the first time, a spacecraft has landed on the side of the moon that is always facing away from Earth, an area that, until now, we had only seen from orbit. The CNSA, or the China National Space Administration, Chang'e 4 lander launched on 7 December and has spent the past month reaching the correct orbit to attempt the historic landing. The CNSA also launched a lunar satellite in May to facilitate communication with the lander, as there is never a direct line of sight between the moon's far side and Earth, which is true. I mean, you can't get a signal through a large body, right? So, like our moon. That lack of visibility meant that the Chang'e 4 had to make its landing almost completely autonomously, with no input from mission control. At 10:26 a.m. Beijing time on 3 January, the lander successfully touched down on the surface in an enormous depression called the South Pole Aitken Basin. The basin is particularly important because it is thought to be a crater from a huge impact during the moon's early years. The impact may have punched through the crust and dug up rocks from deeper underground. If so, the spacecraft will be able to study these rocks to learn about the moon's past as well as its present. The mission will also help prepare the moon's possible future. Researchers are keen to send radio telescopes to the far side of the moon, where radio wave pollution from Earth's communications and power lines is blocked out. Chang'e 4 is also carrying a biosphere with potato seeds and silkworm larvae to see if they can thrive in a sealed container on the moon. Pretty interesting stuff. That's cool news, but I got bad news for you guys. It's horseshit. Now, I don't mean that they're not there. What I'm saying is, if you look at this photo, you can just see the manipulation. Now, some people are going to, oh, here we go. He's picking on the latest photos from China, blah, 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 blah. I got information to back that up, that it is actual crap. Now, I'm not just going to tell you about it. I'm going to show you. And the only way you can do that is to look at the raw parts of this photo And the reason why I say that, guys, is I think that this photo is overlaid. I think there's layers of photos on top of each other. In other words, it'll take multiple photos, and then they can change. Let's say you get the original on the bottom, and then you can change areas you want to and just lay it on top. And you're going to see what I mean in a moment, because it's really bizarre the way this photo is done. Now, what I mean, let's jump into Photoshop. I know how much some of these naysayers want to, oh, here he goes with the Photoshop, but that's okay. All right. Right off the bat, I noticed right here, you can see where it's really got some, I wouldn't say pristine, but it's got some pretty good detail, right? In the back, completely fudged over. What I noticed, and it's ghosted out, and it's really hard to see this, guys, but I'm going to try to bring it out as best as I can, and it's almost impossible, and I'm going to show you why it is. First of all, you can see this line going like this here. Boom, and it's interrupted. It keeps going right here, and pretty much stops. Why? There's an object sitting right here. You're going to see, how the hell do you see that right here? You can see it. It's an interrupted line. Now, you'll also notice there's something over here. This object or line right here, guess what? I don't believe that's a landscape. I believe it's an object sitting there. And I'm going to tell you why I believe that is. Because right here, it's hard to see it. But again, you got the one right here. My throat is killing me, guys. So I'm clearing my throat a little bit. My apologies. I don't mean to. There's something else right here. But there's also other objects all around this area. I'm going to show the best that I can. You're not going to be able to see it really clear. But you're going to see, again, you're going to see why I say that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get rid of the crap color, because this is basically really the moon. It does have other colors, don't get me wrong, but this is a little better than the orange. Ooh, imagine that. It looks just like Mars all of a sudden. Guys, listen. I believe it's almost like Star Trek. They have the United Federation of Planets. We have the United Nations. Who's to say we don't have the United Space Agencies kind of thing going on, and they actually sharing information with each other and not divulging any information to the public? I think that's a very good, strong possibility. All right, let's get into this. Brighten it up. I don't know if you guys can start to see this yet, because you can see, again, you can see all these compression marks, and you're going to want to keep that in mind. You can see them right here. Go on the inside of the compression mark. You can see there's billions of them, of course. These are just compression artifacts. Nothing new, right? Okay, just remember that. It's going to be very important. All right, so you got these two here, right here, and it almost looks like there's a darker area right here, like something's just above it right here. Now watch this. Now let's go ahead and start bringing it down. Okay, now you can start to see just a little bit. I'm going to back out just a hair, and I'm going to zoom back in. You can see this object sitting right here, right here. Now, why can't I bring out any kind of detail? Well, it's tough to do that. Now, if anybody's got their small eyepieces out, there is one thing that's a little clearer. Well, let's back out because you don't want to see too many compression marks. Right there. You see there's some kind of small object sitting right here. It looks like it's kind of like a ball type thing. And it's coming down and it's sitting on a flat platform. Right here. I'm going to circle it. Right there. When you look at it, you can see what looks like some kind of weird ball. All right. Object. Object. It looks like it's off the ground right here. And it comes back down. It's fully on the ground. And there's something else right here. It's darker too. Now, you may go, there's no way they're blocking this stuff out. Well, let me show you something I think you'll find pretty unique. Now, I'm going to go ahead and go through the different ones to try to show you the areas I tried to drag out in this photo to try to bring the best we can in here. Let me just do this. I'm going to go too far because of the compression marks. Okay, again, here. You can almost see this object, and you're going to see it a hair bit better in a minute. Okay, so keep going. Now, what I did in this photo here, I simply took this one right here and then went to equalize. And you can see it right there, and then I got rid of the colors. That's all I did. Okay. Here. Trying different ways to try to drag this thing out. Now, I see, and it might even be something back here. You can see where the colors are actually enhanced a little bit more. They're not colors. It's manipulation. There's something laying right here. They try to take out something right here. It almost looks like a weird, almost like a telescope. It does this. And it kind of goes down like this. Section. Another one over here. Section. Another one over here. Kind of goes down like that. And the white parts is the actual anomalies, guys. Now, let's keep going. This is where these objects have popped out. I was able to get those to pop. Now, check this out. I'm going to blur it. so we can zoom in. Notice this object right here now. It's got a little bit of white on it, but this object here, this right here is off the ground. You can see it's actually off the ground. It has, right here underneath, it actually has what looks like a darker shadow. Okay? Whatever the hell that is, and there's something right here, almost like that looks like little walls. It's like this here. So this object is what I wanted you guys to see too. Is these two objects, is one here, and maybe all one, I don't know. But notice right here, this one particular area is actually, you're going to notice here, right here is the clearest right there with detail. The rest of it isn't. Okay. I'm going to back off here a little bit. Now I'm going to change it again, where you can see colors. There's actual objects here. Now I did it a different filtering to see if I can bring these out. Okay? You can see there's an object sitting right here. Now, of course, we can't bring this out too good, but it's a shame that we can't. All right, let me show you something I think you'll find interesting. Now, all we got to do is zoom in. Anybody knows these are compression artifacts, right? We can see that. Anybody can do this. It's pretty easy stuff. Okay. Now, we're going to go down to the bottom, and what do we have? Same thing, nothing but compression squares. Now, this is the important part I want you guys to take note of. This area here and this area here. Do you see any difference at all other than the brightness and darkness? The answer would be no, right? Exactly. Okay. You can see these small compression areas, and these are very important to notice. And I'm going to show you why I believe that, I'm just going to pick out random ones. Doesn't have to be anything spectacular. You can see these pretty much with ease, right? And you can see it's pretty uniform. What would you expect in a photo? Especially a low-res photo, right? Okay. You want to see the real photo? What you need to do is see it in its raw form, and you'll see a characteristic in here that blows your mind. We're going to go into the cyan plate, and then we're going to hit cyan, because that's where we're in. Guess what we see? What the living hell is going on with this photo, guys? Tell me what's going on here. Okay? Check out the way... This is awesome. All this area here is completely, right here, completely, this whole area in the back has been completely taken out. However, check this out. Here, you can see this area here, this white line where I showed you right here, this object I showed you sticking out right here, this other one I said looked like this weird telescope. It had this half cylindrical piece sticking out. This area right here is detail. See that right there? You can see where it's got detail. Now watch this. There is no information whatsoever. Now, funny enough, if we zoom in, you can see right here. Look at the difference between these artifacts, compression artifacts. Now, this is in white because you can see here, I'm not in the working CMK, which is basically your color. CMYK, I should say. All right, you can see the difference in right here. Look at the size of these, and look at the size of these smaller ones down in the bottom. These are compression marks. This was intentional to block out information, except for here. Information is there. Here. Now, let me show you why that's important. Keep an eye on that area right there. It's right in the center of the screen. This is where I saw that white object that looks like some kind of weird, intelligently made object. See it? They're there, but as soon as you take it into cyan plate, guess what? You can see the areas. This is the reason why we're able to bring those out, because they didn't actually block those out. Same thing with this area, right here. You can see the information as opposed to, let's zoom in again, nothing whatsoever. There is no information at all. It's completely taken out. Now, so then you go down here, and you can see these small, right here, these little, and then suddenly you go to the left. What the hell? Look at the size of these. Why? Because these are intentionally done. Now, why didn't we see these in the normal photo? You know why? Because I believe that they're being layered. And this is the reason why you couldn't see these larger ones. And I'm just going to back up again. I got to be honest with you guys. I'm completely angry about this. You can just see the information has been totally taken out of this photo. Why? Why? Because they're on a reconnaissance mission. This has nothing to do with rocks. Let's look at how old the moon is. BS. Come on now. You can see this. Even here in the darker areas, you can see this area right here. It has all the information. You can see that. Right here. Now I'm going to zoom in so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. You can see they still did it lightly here, but because it's in the darker area of the photo, not so much. You can't see it as much. But you can see again, information. All of these areas right here have information. I'm just going to do a few of them. All of these right here, all have information. Now there is a couple of them. There's one or two here that don't. But you can see where it's sporadic, where they literally did this to hide what's really in this photo. Look at that. That's a joke, man. To me, this is the reason why people say, well, they haven't been to the moon. Come on now. This is the reason why I believe that they have. Why hide a photo like this? You could show everything else. You could show everything else in this photo. Why not the rest of it? Again, I'm going to go like this. I'm going to show you guys. I'm going to go back to this working CMYK. And again, we can just do this. I'm going to take this. I'm not going to do a thing to this photo. And you can see it. They all look the same size. Well, did that a little too big, but anyway, here they are. Do any random compression artifact, and you can see right here, same size, no difference at all. Yet, when we go into the raw plate of this photo, we can actually bring out the lies. We can bring out what they're really doing here, guys. They're no different than NASA. They're no different than ESA. These guys are literally hiding this stuff. Look at this. I don't see anything. It's the larger ones, the larger artifacts in the photo. They're the same size as the ones down here, even on the side, on the left side. So it's not because of, you know, a lighted area or a dark area. You can still see these. These are, I mean, you can see it a little bit better here now. Right here. I'm going to do the outline because I did it a little sloppily, but you get the idea. And guess what? They're the same size. And look where they're at. I can go way up here. Same size. They're no different size. Yet go into the raw plating, the cyan, and this is what you get. Guys, you know, it's a disappointment. They're hiding stuff right off the bat. This is the reason why I think when they had the Chang'e 3 up there, the Chang'e 3, depending on how you pronounce it or they pronounce it. This is the reason why when people started to really dissect their photos, you notice how all of a sudden, well, it had a breakdown. It's going to continue doing its science, you know, studies and stuff like that. But, well, we're not going to put it in the public's eye anymore. We're going to go ahead and just, that's it. That's the end of it. And they cut it abruptly. That was it. And I think they're going to do the same thing here. I think they are. You're not going to hear much more about it. You might get a few more pictures here and there, but that's going to be the end of it. And this is what we're going to see. We're going to keep an eye on these photos. They're lying about these photos or what's in them. Just like, who else do we know that does this? Now, don't get me wrong. I love the idea of the space exploration. But what they're doing is they're hiding what they're really finding. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm frustrated, man. I really am. I'm really frustrated. And again, this is the only reason why you can see this, because it's a different layer of photo here. And this is what we're seeing. There's a big difference between this here, which has detail. All this area on the bottom has detail. Go up here, completely missing information. As I said, you can see the information in these, but then you get to these completely void of information. And yet you couldn't see that on a standard photo unless you got into the raw parts of the photo. And this is what I thought was going to happen, guys. I knew that they were going to hide stuff in here, and I knew it for a fact. Here you go. Here's your perfect example. Now, they said that's the bad news. The good part about it is that there are, in fact, objects on this moon. So it just goes to show that, yeah, they're liars. They're keeping this stuff from the public, but yet there are things on this moon. On the other side of the moon, where some people have seen cities, some of these astronauts have claimed to see different things, whatever it may be. But again, these objects are there. This was actually not even taken out. This is the reason why you can see this so well. Why is it a perfectly white object sitting right there in the middle of nowhere? Right there. Makes you wonder. You guys can do this yourself, believe it or not. It's really not complicated to do. But yet you can see the difference in compression marks and artifacts to going into the raw parts of the photo and seeing exactly where they block areas and stuff out of the photo. As always, like, share, and comment. Give me a thumbs up if you haven't already subscribed to the channel. Subscribe, hit the little bell in there so you get future notifications of any videos coming up. And with that, I'm going to let you go. You guys have a good one, and I'll see you on the flip side.